A night lost in the hotel, room 404, beginning a mysterious vacation. It was midnight. A car slowly pulled up in front of the old yet grand Rosewood Hotel, situated outside the city. 5 young people stepped out and ascended the stone steps, illuminated by the hotel's dim lights. Ethan, Olivia, Jack, Emily, and Noah hadn't vacationed together in a long time, and this weekend was the perfect escape they had been seeking. An elderly receptionist greeted them with a cold expression. "Hello, we have a reservation under Ethan Carter," Ethan said. The old man glanced at the records and handed over the keys. "Third floor, rooms 312 and 313, he said in a hushed voice. While Olivia was examining the old hotel plan behind the receptionist, she noticed something odd. "Why isn't there a room 404? She asked. The old man's face tensed for a moment. Then he averted his eyes and said, "Some things are better left unquestioned." The group exchanged glances and chuckled lightly as they headed toward the elevator. However, one of them began to ponder the truth behind that response. Night. The missing door. It was approaching 2 a.m. The hotel's long corridors were nearly entirely dark, lit only by a few dim wall lamps. Unable to sleep, Jack decided to take a brief exploratory tour of the hotel. With his phone's flashlight in hand, he ascended to the 4th floor. But it was empty. At the end of the corridor stood a wall. However, when Jack heard a faint whisper from within, he held his breath and listened intently. Squinting, he approached the wall. "There should be a room here," he murmured. Just then, he heard footsteps behind him and quickly turned around. But the corridor was empty. As he decided to return, he noticed a door had appeared behind him. It hadn't been there before, but now it was. The door number was 404. Jack slowly pushed the door. It creaked open, revealing a deep darkness inside. He shone his phone's light into the room, but the light seemed to be swallowed by the darkness. After a moment's hesitation, he stepped inside, and the door slammed shut behind him. Morning. Jack disappeared. In the morning, Jack was nowhere to be found. When Olivia and Emily went to his room, they noticed his bed hadn't been slept in. Olivia. Maybe he went down for breakfast. Noah. Or he went out during the night, that's just like him. But Ethan looked worried. "I saw him in the corridor last night," he said. "It seemed like he was searching for something." They went down to the reception to ask about Jack, but the old man shrugged. "There's no one by that name here." Emily lost her patience. "He checked in last night. You can see his name in the records." The old man averted his eyes and said, "I told you before, some things are better left unquestioned," and walked away. The group decided to find Jack on their own. Noah and Ethan went down to the basement to examine the hotel's plans, while Olivia and Emily decided to go up to the 4th floor, 404, the door of fear. When they reached the corridor, they initially saw only a wall. However, Olivia remembered Jack mentioning something behind the wall before he disappeared. When she gently touched the wall, a creaking sound was heard, and a door appeared before them. The door had the number 404 on it. When Emily touched the door, she felt a deep coldness. Olivia noticed something seeping from under the door, a bloody trail. Emily trembled and stepped back. "We can't do this, Olivia. We shouldn't go in there." But Olivia was determined to save Jack. She pushed the door open, and inside they encountered something terrifying. The shadow of the past. Room 404 seemed frozen in time. The walls were moldy, the furniture old and decayed, and the floors were covered with dried blood stains. In the center of the room stood an old cradle. On it lay a dusty piece of newspaper. Olivia opened it with trembling hands. The former owner of the hotel was found dead in this room, along with his family. At At that moment, a rustling sound came from the corner of the room. Olivia and Emily quickly turned around. Jack was there, but his eyes were empty, completely white. Emily screamed, but Jack walked forward without saying a word. "We all belong here," he whispered. And from behind him, a figure with empty eyes appeared. It placed a hand on Jack's shoulder, and Jack slowly disappeared into the darkness. Olivia was frozen. Emily's scream echoed through the dark corridor. End. The nightmare. Remaining in the hotel, Noah and Ethan discovered that room 404 had been officially closed 50 years ago and never existed on paper. However, when they went upstairs, they couldn't find Emily or Olivia. No matter how much they searched, they couldn't find any trace of Jack or the girls. But after that night, a new sound began to be heard in the corridor of the 4th floor. In front of room 404, a whisper echoed, "We all belong here," and this door was waiting to be opened.